guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. So it's been 7, 8, 9 weeks since we really talked about my Audi R8. And so today I wanted to spend a little bit of time just kind of recapping the car. As we approach year end, I've owned the car 6 months now. And as you're aware, I bought it with a little bit of a long-term investment mindset in that car. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, again, what I paid for the car, what I've done with the car, and what the car is valued with today. So I'll just dive right in, right? As a refresher, I paid $64,991 for the car. Now, I also did have to pay for transport up, obviously licensing, and those kind of things were on top of that, DMV fees. But anyway, the gist of it is roughly $65,000. Now, if you remember the very first episode or the second episode I featured the car in when I'm kind of disclosing the purchase deal, I mentioned that fair market value at that moment was something around $79,500. Now, CarGurus tracks sales of cars. So you can go to cargurus.com, you can put in exactly what your car is with the make, the miles, all the options and all that stuff, and they're gonna give you a fair market value right then and there. So I did that. I did that with my car, and that's how I came up with that $79,500. If you remember, the dealership that I bought the car from initially was asking almost $85,000. They were priced a little bit high, which is why they kept the car for so long. The moment that they dropped that car price, I pounced on it and was able to get it for $20,000 less than their initial asking price. So I still feel like I stole it. I really do. Watching the market has crept up a little bit, especially in the last 90 days. For whatever reason, as the year end has approached, I think supply chain issues and things haven't gotten better. So it's really lengthened the amount of time that, the used car market has stayed inflated. So, again, I paid we'll call it $65,000 for it. A couple of upgrades that I did to the car were the carbon fiber door blades or the side blades and carbon fiber paddle shifters. I do have another carbon fiber piece, somewhat of a goodie, coming for Christmas. I was able to talk my wife into a new toy for the car. That'll be here kind of the end of the month. I don't think it's going to be here in time for Christmas, but that's coming. And once I get that, I'll do an installation video on that too. But, the long and short of it is I've spent another $1,000 or so on carbon fiber. What else? A few tanks of gas, things like that. But for the most part, I'm not into the car a whole bunch more than the $65,000 that I bought it for. Looking at CarGurus, if I, again, key in my car, I've updated the mileage a little bit. When I did that video a few months ago, I was at 40,100 miles on the car. Now I have 40,400 and change. So I think my analysis, I did a 40,500 miles. Same thing. I put in all the options, the Bang & Olufsen sound system, heated leather, navigation, all the stuff, the carbon interior package, all that stuff. Well, today's fair market value for my car has climbed from $79,500 to now it's $80,300. So the value of the car has climbed not quite $1,000, but the more exciting piece to that is that it hasn't depreciated. So, I've owned it 6 months. I've made 6 monthly payments on the car. My principal, or what I owe on the vehicle, has depleted because I've been making payments, and the value of the car has actually stayed the same and actually gone up a little bit. So I remember saying in that video, if I were to be able to sell this car for $75,000, I make an $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 profit, that's a pretty good win. I still feel that way. I don't have any desire to sell the car. I really love it. I wish I had more time and weather was behaving and things like that where I could be driving it. But we've had some remodeling at my home. We had a work trailer, a job trailer in front of the car and out in the driveway. My car's in the garage under the lift. I couldn't get the car in and out because that job trailer was there for 5 weeks straight, something like that. We're about done with that remodel. The job trailer has now gone away, but of course this week we've seen snow on the ground. So not getting the car out in snow. So it's been one of those things where I'll go out and I'll cold start it, let it run, warm it up a little bit, and then just turn it off. Unfortunately, I haven't really driven it. I would say in the last 8 weeks, I've probably put 50 miles on the car. So it's not getting used the way I would like, but again, heading into winter, it's probably going to just sit at this point until March or April. If the roads are clear, I can drive it. But we live in a climate when there's snow on the ground, the city drops cinder on the ground to kind of improve traction. And the last thing I want is to get some scratches and nicks and dents and cracked windshield because of some cinder. So it's unlikely I'm going to drive the car much in the next 3 months. So, that's okay. But, again, talking about the value of the car, I did buy it with the intentions of watching the value stay where they're at, or hopefully appreciate. The thing that's phenomenal and kind of fascinating to me is when I look at these price trends, they're all holding value. My car is a 2009. That 79.5 value that I had 6 months ago on the car, it did dip a little bit. It got down to about 78. And then again, in the last 90 days, it seems to have kind of gone the other way. And now we're north of 80,000, which is the highest value the car has held since I've owned it. And, again, I've put 400 or 500 miles on it since I've owned it. And, so to be able to drive the car, use the car, enjoy the car, and watch it appreciate a little bit, even just a little bit, that's fantastic. Again, that's the name of the game when you're buying a car like this. The last thing I wanted to do is buy a $65,000 car, and then, a year later it's worth 50 or 45 or 40. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of brand new cars. If I go buy a brand new car, I kind of talked about this in a prior video too, but like a BMW M5, not going to buy one. MSRP is at like 100 and a quarter, and that's ridiculous. But if you buy one that's a year old, you can get it for 90. You buy one that's 2 years old, you can get it for 80, something like that. Now they're starting to plateau, and they've actually, just like this car, gone back the other way. And that's, again, supply and demand. But, the initial depreciation on a new car is such that it's not always an advantage to buy one. The cost of the depreciation might be valued as, well, the cost of the warranty or the cost of all those things that might be worth it to you. That said, if you buy a car that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, that first owner really took a brunt of that depreciation. So I kind of took that approach with this car. Obviously, buying it 12 years after it was produced, it hit the bottom of the depreciation curve and started to climb back up the other way. And I wanted to capitalize on that. I don't think they're going to fall below 65. I think that, honestly, I could own this car for a year. I could own it for 5 years. I could own it for 10 years. Unless I just beat the crap out of it, I don't think it'll ever sell for less than $65,000. And so, even if I made my payments every month until the loan is paid off, if I calculated how much in interest I paid, which isn't a bunch, it's a low interest rate, I think that even then, at the end of my loan, I should be able to sell it and recoup every dollar I spent on the car, likely including upgrades. So carbon fiber goodies and things that come along the way. I don't think knock on wood, I don't think I'm going to lose any pennies on this car at all. I think I'm only going to make money and enjoy it in the meantime. So I'm pretty excited about that. I just enjoy the car. I really wish I had more opportunities to be driving it. That said, I wanted to clue you guys in a future video. I'm going to feature a friend of mine. He recently bought a 2017 R8, and he saw my car. Coincidentally, so he's my dentist, and shortly after I bought the car, I was in there getting a cleaning, and he saw my Challenger in the parking lot. So he's asking me about the car, and we're talking a little bit about it and stuff. And so he asked, like, how are things? And, so anyway, long story short, I don't recall exactly how it came up, but I made the comment that the Challenger wasn't really my only new toy. I also bought an Audi R8. And he drives an S5, an Audi S5 is his daily driver. And so I knew he's an enthusiast. I knew he was an Audi guy, and I knew he'd appreciate the R8. So after a lengthy talk, he, as we're wrapping things up, he's like, I need you to come over to my house this weekend. I want you to bring the car, and I want to see it. I want to see it. So this was maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday. So, Friday I text him and I said, like, let's find a time this weekend I can come by. So I did. I drove my car out to his place and he was just enamored with it. And just, I've always loved these things. I got to have one. So he kind of said, well, what I'd really like to do is spend $100,000. I want to find the best car I can for $100,000. I said, that's great. I mean, this is what I bought for 65. If my budget was 50% bigger, I mean, you can get a lower mileage, you can get a V10, you can do a number of things. Cool, let's do this. So I started looking a little bit online. He was looking online a lot, and he's texting me back and forth. And over the period of a couple months, he finally found one. He found one and bought it. And we'll talk about that in a future video. But I kind of wanted to let you guys know there's a second R8 in town. When I bought mine, I was the second R8 in town. There was a 2010 or 11 gated manual black car here in town that has since sold. So I don't know where it went. He had it for sale for a while, and it appears to have gone away. So I thought maybe a few weeks I was the only R8 around, and then my dentist goes and buys one too. So he's excited. I'm excited for him. I haven't seen the car in person. He's had it for a little while now, but they also just had a little baby. So, in time, I need to get out there and see it, and we'll shoot some videos and stuff together, and it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm excited for him, and it's a cool deal. It's having been there, having been in love with this car and then finally getting it. It's such an amazing feeling. And so, he kind of shared that with me too. He said, Josh, I've wanted one of these cars nearly as long as you have. It's cool to see that you got one. Now I need one. And so, he did. He just went and bought one, which is great. I'd been considering it, thinking about it, researching it for a long, long time before pulling the trigger. And not that his buy was more spontaneous. It was just, I think I lit the fire underneath him, and when I had one, he decided he needed one too. So he got one, and like I said, it'll be fun. We're going to shoot some videos and stuff, and so, yeah. But I guess the point of this video, just to summarize, is that these things are holding value. They are creeping up just a little bit, which I think I anticipated. I think a lot of folks were starting to look at the car market as softening, meaning that the values were coming down. The resale wasn't holding its value quite the same way. New car purchases were expanding, and that drops the value of used car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the supply chains really haven't gotten better. If you go to a new car lot, there's a Chevy dealership literally 15 miles from my house. My wife and I drove by it last weekend, and they had six new cars on the lot. And this is a big time Chevy dealer. They had a used car lot that was relatively full, but 6 new cars, 0 in the showroom. So, what that tells you is just new cars are not easy to come by. So used cars are holding value. This is an excellent example. This is a low number produced car that, they sell out every year. There's only so many made. And, they get crashed, they get damaged, totaled, whatever. So, there's fewer and fewer and fewer. Every time that calendar page turns, there's X amount of cars less. So, again, long-term, a clean titled car in good condition with low-ish miles is always going to hold its value, especially in this kind of arena. It's not a Kia or a Hyundai that's mass produced in the millions. This car, my 2009 R8, literally 699 were made or brought to the States. So mine's one of less than 700 in all 50 states. In that regard, it's a pretty rare car. And then you dig into the color and the options and the engine package and all that stuff. And, it's always going to be desirable to somebody, and it's built in such a limited quantity that it's going to just hold value. So that's that. I'm going to let you guys go, but thank you for watching. If you have questions about the car, questions about, how to utilize the mindset of a car as an investment, by all means ask questions. You can comment down below. You can shoot me an email. Happy to answer questions. Happy to walk you through what that looks like. help you to even do some math if it means trying to figure out what you can afford, what you can do, what you want, all those things. Happy to be a resource to you guys. But mostly important, if you can, please subscribe, please like, please share, all of those things. I think I'm up to 39 followers or subscribers. So, I started this page not even a year ago with 0, and here we are almost at 40. Not that that's a huge number, but that is exciting to me because I've only made about 47, 8 videos. So it's almost as if I'm getting a new subscriber each video, which is awesome. So thank you guys for your support, all the positive feedback, all the comments. I love it. I really do appreciate it. But remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.